There he is.
Hey, bud. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Great, great.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely. Where are you located at again?
Yeah, so I'm East Coast guy. I'm just outside of Boston.
Just outside of Boston. Okay, right on.
Yeah, so
How's the weather in Boston?
it's actually not bad. It's so yesterday was beautiful. It was 70 and sunny. Today is mid 50s and overcast. So it's not a terrible day, but not as nice as yesterday. So what about you? You're in Oregon or are you California?
Seattle.
Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah, yeah. It's we just had a stretch of 70s for a bit. But the best of the weather, I just got back from Kentucky. I went and did some bourbon tasting on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which
I
was
saw that. Yeah.
pretty amazing. And then when I got back here, it dropped back down to the 60s again. But it's it's all right.
Yeah, no, I definitely could be worse. That's for sure. I just
Absolutely.
recently got into good bourbon. I tried
Mm.
good bourbon a couple times, like fairly. I say fairly recently. It's this whole last year has been a blur, but I the first time I had it was like the cheaper stuff. Everyone
Hmm.
tries everything in college, but I've
Yeah.
slowly developed a taste for it. Obviously, you were in one of the greatest places in the world to get bourbon, so I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it was the distilleries there, or some of my favorite bourbons, the Blantons and the Eagle Rare and E.H. Taylor and all these. So Bullet Bourbon. So I got to kind of go to the source. So it was kind of fun.
Oh, absolutely, man. And it's obviously been nice with slowly but surely us kind of getting out of this insane period with the pandemic and everything. Be nice to go places again. So it's
Yeah, for sure.
certainly really nice. So
For sure.
yeah, but so it looks like is that what you're having right now? You drinking a little bit?
Yeah, I figured I'd have a nice little bourbon.
There
I'm
we go.
having it's
Yeah.
called Noah Mills. It's from a place, Willett Distillery. It's really good. It's kind of like it's a nice bottle, so it's kind of one of those you have one or two, and then you put it away. And if you want to keep drinking, you go to something cheaper, type of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, that's the best stuff though. I've noticed that that kind of stuff. Obviously, it tastes much better. It's smooth. It goes down much easier, and you feel better the next day. That's been the big kicker. I always feel terrible the next day if I drink the cheaper,
Yeah.
particularly with the liquors. I just can't hang anymore, man. I can't do that stuff.
Yeah. No, not me in high quantities. I just kind of enjoy a little one here and there.
Yeah, and honestly, that kind of stuff, that's what it's meant for, anyways, for sipping
Hmm.
and really good stuff. So
That's
awesome.
right.
Well, I know this is our first time kind of seeing each other, kind of speaking. We've messaged a bunch over the last year, and I got to tell you, it is Jeff, right? Jeff is your first name.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I kind of figured it out going onto your website. I got to say, Jeff, over the last year, man, I've really enjoyed your content. I love how just no nonsense your approach has been just to fitness and life, and kind of embracing the insanity that the years just kind of grabbing it by the horns and continuing to train, continuing to work hard, and trying to find that balance, that never-ending pursuit of balance. And but I definitely enjoyed a bunch of your posts, just training and the philosophy stuff. I like too. Just really, I think you were really a lot of stuff resonated with me about like the self-reliance and just owning your shit, for lack of a better way of saying it. Just really just taking responsibility for your circumstances and
That's it.
so
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. Can you hear?
yeah.
Are my headphones okay?
Oh yeah, solid. That
Okay.
sounds
Good. 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 Good.
yeah. So yeah, we have a lot in common. I'm actually really excited to talk with you about everything. So I guess we can kind of start with so you're in Seattle area. Are you from there that originally?
Well, my mom had me really young, in California, of all places. I was born in San Jose, California.
Awesome.
And then when I was about three, she relocated me to this itty bitty little town in Washington called Morton, Washington. It's a logging community, about 1,000 people, 23 kids in the graduating class type of place.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was raised in that small town atmosphere, and I think that's where a lot of the inherent like work ethic and stuff came from, is having chores as a kid and, you know, having responsibilities at a young age and never getting anything for free. Yeah, that type of situation. So I'm really blessed, I think, to have grown up in a small community. I really, truly believe it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I grew up doing chores too, but I feel like your chores were probably a little bit more physically demanding than mine. Mine was, laundry, pick up the room and kind of do stuff. We weren't in that kind of environment. I look back now. So I'm only 31. I'm not obviously saying I'm super old, but I've reached a point in my life where I look back and I'm actually very grateful for the challenging times when I was younger, the challenges I faced, and I'm very lucky. Both my parents are veterans, and they were hard
awesome.
up, and I'm so glad they were, because it definitely prepared me for I would say, even especially this last year, the many challenges that we obviously faced, and not to say it's all magically going to get better. We got many more obstacles down the road, obviously, past the pandemic and everything. But I feel like you and I are like similar in that regard. We kind of look back on the time and are grateful for the challenges.
Absolutely. A life without struggle would be pretty boring, probably. You can give a person everything they'd ever dreamed of, and without having a purpose or something that shows them some struggle from time to time, I don't know if they'd ever truly be happy. Having to work for stuff, there's something to that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny. There's I've heard this. I've never confirmed that this is 100% true. I'm sure this is kind of there's a combination of myth and legend here, but that's actually more or less the story of how the Buddha started. He was actually born into royalty and basically silver spoon kid, and he wasn't happy and he wasn't fulfilled. Right. He ended up, that's where he actually started the school and philosophy of Buddhism. Was basically he left that, discarded that life, and I'm sure you heard that everyone talks about he meditated under the tree for X number of days until he became enlightened or whatever. But yes, that was he took a vow of poverty and willingly chose to live a life of struggle and to reject pleasure and desire, that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I think it's interesting. That's, like you said, if you have everything, you don't have to work for anything. There's no challenges. There's no joy. There's such a joy and release when you're able to overcome an obstacle. It makes it so much more meaningful when you can achieve something, whether it's physical or mental or financial or whatever.
Absolutely. And that's, one of the powers of training and getting strong, right? It's not easy. It's a struggle. And if you have legitimate goals that you're trying to reach, I like to set goals that I know that I can achieve. Then I like to set a few dream goals here and there that are going to be kind of the long run. But yeah, having to show up and put in that work to accomplish something in the gym is a great carryover to life. And I think a lot of people have that benefit, and it's hard to quantify just how much a few hours a week in the gym not only helps your body, helps your mind, but actually will help you conquer stuff throughout your day at work and all these other things that you may take for granted. But yeah, not a lot of people really sit back and think about that. How would my life be, not just physically, but business wise, if I didn't have these struggles in the gym. So, and overcome these little tasks at work that may seem hard, but after crushing your deadlift goal, you're oh shit, I'm a pretty capable human being.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And honestly, I know I keep talking about this past year and everything with the pandemic, but that was my saving grace was training and having something to train for. On some days it was just move and have fun, swing a pedal, push-ups, do some pistols or whatever. Some days it was just do some mobility, just go out walking. I know you love walking with your beautiful dog T-Bone. That's the star on your page, by the way. He's definitely
absolutely
the star. Which I have a dog as well, and that's one of my favorite things to do is go walking. You're obviously a big kettlebell guy, and I think it's funny how a lot of, I wouldn't say there was a lot of hate of the kettlebell, but there was definitely a lot of people. It was underappreciated, I would say, a year, 2 years ago. Like in let's say in the Strong First RKC community, obviously kettlebells is our bread and butter. We love it. It's awesome. But I would say outside of it, it's slowly becoming more mainstream in fitness. But a lot of these like gym bros, like the bodybuilder types that were more like squat, bench, deadlift, which I love those too. I'm not knocking it, but they were they thought the kettlebell was kind of a silly toy and kind of didn't really have a good place in a fitness routine. But then a lot of those same people realized, they said, hey, oh shit, the gym's shut down. What the hell am I going to do? And it's like, well, I can press it, I can squat it, I can snatch it, I can swing it, I can do a Turkish get up, push, press, jerks. There's just many movements, variations that you can do. It's so funny how everybody kettlebells were sold out. Like you couldn't get them anywhere for about 6 months.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you say, with the strength guys, I think, they're seeing guys like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like some super stud, but I'm not like some physical phenomenon. I'm just a 47-year-old dude that can, just do a get up with a 56 kg like it's nothing. So I think that it takes seeing that type of stuff to realize, like when I first met Brett Jones, I was in awe. I think, and maybe this is an urban legend in my head, but I swear to God, during that cert, he grabbed a set of doubles and just like a beast and pressed it. And I was thinking, Jiminy Christmas, this guy is insane. But when you just look at him, he's just a dude, and that's what I love about the kettlebell. It's accessible, and you can get a lot of strength without what people used to assume strength was, this big giant muscles. I feel with the kettlebell, it's turned me into a very high functioning guy, way into my 40s. And I don't know if that would have been the same deal if I would have stayed with the chest try back by, leg day. I probably would be bigger than I am now and maybe look a little bit better at the beach. I don't know, but I don't think I'd be feeling as good. and that's more important to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, Jeff, that's a big one, is like feeling good. That's one thing I noticed is the barbell's my first love. I love squat, bench, deadlift. If I come across a PR video, I don't care what's going on. I'm watching it all day. I love that stuff. I love grabbing the bar. Just a good heavy deadlift is so fun. And I still love it. But I have noticed that, and I've been in the industry about 7 years, so not a super long time, but I have noticed those that go only barbell, they tend to get really banged up later down the road. I think their bodies just, they get into such fixed movement patterns. They end up with a lot of compensations, a lot of injuries. And I have found an approach similar to yours, combining the three main modalities: the body weight, the barbell, and the kettlebell together. And they complement each other. They fill in the weak links for each other, kind of plug the leaks. And that's certainly for me been the most beneficial. I have never felt better since I've kind of combined those versus going down the rabbit hole just in one alone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the combination, it's a beautiful thing, because there's no doubt that every now and again I'll go for maybe, I don't know, 3 to 6 month stretch of just bells and body weight, and then I'll do a program like Strong Lifts 5x5 where I'll just be focusing on the good old squat, bench, military press, and back squat. And, after that 12-week cycle, I go back and I'm able to do things with the bells overhead that I wasn't doing prior. And then vice versa. I can go a long time without touching the barbell, but through my kettlebell practice, I wouldn't feel hesitant at all after a couple months of being away from it, loading up, 415 and just pulling a deadlift off the floor and having not touched it. It's pretty amazing. Just like the body weight. I've heard a lot of people that have done strict body weight programs for 6 months and they got back and their kettlebell press PR was higher. Their pistols, it's so when you can smartly combine them all at the same time, it's that, you really got something good going.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny, I'm going to contradict myself now, because I'm actually, I have gone down the proverbial rabbit hole, if you will. I'm training, currently doing Sinister training, nice and slow. I've got a 13-week-old daughter. So my sleep schedule is, it's better, but still inconsistent. So I'm the tortoise. I'm taking my time. I'm going to get there nice and slow. But the
best way to go.
carryover with the Sinister training has been insane as well. My colleagues and I, we've done the Tactical Strength Challenge a couple times, and all of us, we were all at one point just doing the SNS Simple and Sinister training, and did the TSC for fun, and everybody PR'd on the deadlift, and we hadn't touched a barbell. It was just
beautiful.
And my colleague Sean, his was even more impressive because I think he went from a 405 to a 425 and attempted 445 and couldn't quite get it off the floor. But then I PR'd about 10 pounds, like 5 or 10 pounds, and Mike did the same thing. So there's so much carryover with that Simple and Sinister training. It's really
absolutely. Yeah, you want to get better at running marathons, swings and get-ups. You want to get better at powerlifting, swings and get-ups. You want to get better at going to Costco, swings and get-ups. I mean, it's there's so much benefit built in there. The get-up to me is the number one exercise that every human should have in their bag and should be practicing it daily. When you get to a point where you can't get off the ground under your own power anymore, life becomes pretty limiting. So I have my one weightlifting birthday goal every year is to do 1 48 kg get up. Yeah, that's it, right? So I figure I don't have some crazy birthday workout. I just want to be in a position in my life that when it comes around to my birthday, that I can walk into the gym, shake my arms out a little bit, grab a 48 kg and do 1 get up. And I figure as long as I'm doing that, when I get to that point in my 70s, maybe that drops down to the 40. I don't know. But if I just stay on that path, I have no doubt that when I get older, I'll still be hiking. I'll still be out enjoying life and doing things like that. And a lot of it is that get up. I've had clients in their golden years that were, got away from photography or something like that because they were afraid to kneel down and get those macro close-up shots and all those things, and it just frustrated them. And 6 months of training, teaching that get up step by step. Next thing you know, they're out buying a camera again because they've got that confidence back. They have this path up and down from the ground, and then you start adding weight to it, and it's a beautiful thing. And then swings, I mean, it's got everything, right? It's your deadlift pattern. You're ballistically jumping out of the gym without your feet leaving the ground, and some of us are doing it with 106 pounds between our legs. I mean, you can't tell me that's not improving power, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, obviously the grip strength aspect, the centrifugal force, and what I can't understand is just I continue to be blown away by how amazing the Turkish getup is, because I like certain aspects make sense to me, like the grip. You're maintaining that neutral, or maybe even like say slightly flexed wrist or whatever to hold a good arm wrestle belt, as Brett taught us at
yeah.
I actually he was the master instructor at my cert, so I lucked out. I got to see the man in action. So he's such a badass. I love Brett. But anyways, like neutral wrist, like you're standing up. It's a reverse lunge, so there's a lower body aspect. Your core is stabilizing. Whenever my back hurts, and I'm lucky, I don't really have too many back issues now. The kettlebells really changed that for me, and obviously learning how to move better. If my back is stiff, a heavy Turkish get up on each side, and it's like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. It's like everything is moving again, and I feel like $1 million. I mean, I know the movement itself. Obviously, there's a mobility and a strength and stability and everything, but it's something magical. So
absolutely that, and then I'll mix in some heavy carries as my chiropractor. It's like if you walk at it with nice posture, carrying some heavy bells, it seems like everything goes tick, 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 tick. By the end of the walk, everything's back in place for me.
No, I think and they suck. They could really suck if you're going for heavier weight, or if you're going longer distance, or a combination of the two. Carries aren't, and they can get a little boring, but that's where you can obviously have fun and do variations with them. But I have carries are probably one of the exercises that I can safely say 100% of my clients will perform. Now the variety will depend, of course. Not everyone's going to go overhead.
Sure.
On the shoulder, but everybody. I mean, anybody that can come in to train can probably do a farmer's walk or a suitcase carry. I would say, benefits are incredible, obviously.
Yeah, like Dan John says, it's like weight training is basically, what is it, 6 or 7 ingredients. And he put it to Mexican food one time at a cert. And he's like, well, depending on what ingredients you put together, it's a taco salad or it's a taco or it's an enchilada, but a lot of it's all the same ingredients. So he's always saying, push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry, and get up. If you can mix those things into your general conditioning, those 6 ingredients, you're pretty much good to go.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's funny because I always say this is like, for me it's fun, like self-deprecating humor, but also a way to stay humble and remember where we came from and how we've learned from coaches way smarter than us in the game way longer. But you're right. At the end of the day, an effective strength program is going to have those movement patterns in it. Now, the fun stuff obviously is, how are we going to squat? How are we going to press? How are we going to do a carry? You get into. One of my coworkers got me really into the stagger, or what are the offset carries, like they're called, like one arm, one's in the rack, and so you can bench, you can bench press, you can kettlebell press, you can push up, you can floor press. So that's the great part, right? We can add the variety in and keep it fun and fresh. So, so I think I saw your post a while ago where you had the beast where there was the broken handle.
Yeah.
Was that back when you were training for Sinister?
That would have been that day that beast got broken. This was one of my laps of professionalism while lifting, to be honest. I was feeling really strong, and I haven't pressed the beast since in 2013. I went commercial fishing in Alaska, and I had a little whiplash injury, or potential, big probably if you look at it. But anywho, when I got back, when I left to go fishing, I was swinging double beast for sets of 5. I was pretty strong, right? And I was but anywho, I had a little setback, and I'd gotten back to where I pressed the 44 pretty easy, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was feeling really good one day, and I racked the beast, and I was gonna press it, and it just completely wham, just denied me. And instead of parking it like a pro, I growled and blah, and threw it. And, it landed on the handle and broke, unfortunately. So that was that was a lesson learned.
Oh, sure. And honestly, I'll totally honest. I feel like we've all had moments like that. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten pinned under the barbell for a bench press, or the bar just doesn't move for the deadlift, and you just get pissed off. A deadlift is one thing, because if I can't pick it up, I can't throw it. So it's kind of But we've all certainly been there, especially when it was something you could previously do, and as get to a certain level, we hate setbacks. I think they suck, obviously, but it's part of the game. I mean, it's when you're in it for the long haul, obviously, like we are.
Yeah, but the Sinister journey, for me, to call myself Sinister, the swings have to look like the 24, period. Surviving it doesn't count in my book. And have I survived the 100 swings before? Yes. Were they up to my standard of where I want to be? No. The most I've ever completely owned, in my opinion, like completely owned, is 7 swings every 30. So, and then after that, they got a little sloppy. But the get ups it's a piece of cake, just because
get ups don't sound like they're very tough for you. Yeah.
No, not at all. Could I survive Sinister and make it look halfway decent? Yeah, probably. Would it be something I'd be proud of? No, not at this point, right? I mean, I'm talking, when I can do it to where it looks like the 24 kg is in my hand and I'm just owning every swing, and the last 90, I'm not like wrestling the kettlebell, I'm still floating it. That's when I'll say that I've done it.
No, I'm with you 100%, man. That's how I feel about it as well, and that's why I'm taking my time with it as well. I don't want to just, like you said, just survive it, because I have in the past and we've all been there. We're guys, right? We get competitive, and we get
Oh,
that
sure.
flowing. Like you push a little too hard, and the body has a way of reminding us that we're not.
Absolutely.
The weight has a way of biting back when we go to. So I'm with you. When I did simple, that was my goal with simple. I said I want to own it. I want no swings to be questionable. The get ups, and the get ups were easy. Obviously, the get ups you get to a point where a 32K for most guys, I would say, is pretty manageable. I tested the 40 back probably. Like it was actually Thanksgiving. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and I survived it, but it would definitely nowhere. Like aerobically, I would say I survived. The get-ups were nothing. The get-ups, were great, but the swing height was nowhere near there. I didn't compromise technique, but the height was like I was definitely here. Probably the first 2 minutes here on minute 3, and then there.
Yeah. And those sessions are okay as long as you're staying perfectly safe. Those are a part of the path. Just grabbing it and just getting after it. And as long as it's within standards, maybe not perfect standards, but they're perfectly safe, I say challenge through those, right? Those types of sessions, right? But if you start to feel like, the feet are coming off the ground and you're wrestling it, then it's just put it down, check your ego at the door, walk away, and hit it next time.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And that's where I got myself into trouble, was trying to go rep for rep with a buddy of mine who's probably double my strength level. And I found myself trying to compensate and leaning back a little bit. And that's as you know, I know better, guys being stupid. Lower back was pretty jacked up for a little while after that. So I've slowly kind of gotten back into it. So it's, but hey, I look back and I'm always happy that when I have these little injuries, because they teach me. They and as guys we can be kind of stubborn.
So, and like you say, to your point of especially if you're in the coaching game and all these things, and like right now I'm kind of dealing with this little neck stinger thing that I just can't get rid of, and but I've gone, knock on wood, since I discovered the Pavel stuff. I mean, legitimately 10, 11 years without having a real setback in the gym, right? Just by training smart and starting to understand what I need, and what I needed is 3 times a week is all of training pretty hard 3 times a week, but that's all I needed, right? Instead of trying to force 5 days, 6 days, and back before I discovered Pavel and all that stuff. So when I get these things, it helps me relate more to a lot of the people that I see that are dealing with some type of injury or some type of setback. It just makes it humbling, like you say, and reminds you that you're not invincible by any stretch of the imagination, and what was smart a year ago maybe not be smart today. So making these adjustments, and the goal is longevity. For me at this point, it's if I end up having a 6-pack ab or some big forearms or something out of the longevity goal, that's pretty cool, but it's most definitely not the goal for me anymore. It's far from that. I mean, I love being good at the gym, but if being good at the gym makes me better at hiking or something like that, that's what the benefit is these days. I'm not walking around the beach with my shirt off trying to look for chicks these days or whatever. It's the vain stuff is far removed from my vocabulary.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm with you there. And honestly, that was the first thing I ever saw. I don't know, maybe someone shared a post of yours. I don't remember exactly how I found you on Instagram, but I guess someone shared something, and I saw your description on your the bio on your page, and it said something along the lines of, I'm not here to create 6-packs and feed egos. I want to build, I think it was a stronger, healthier, happier human race. And I saw that and was like, yep, giving this guy a follow. This guy into the same stuff I'm into. And I couldn't agree more, man. For me, especially, like I said, about a year ago, I had jacked my back up pretty bad from being stupid ego lifting. It's way more important for me now to be able to bend down and pick up my daughter and walk my dog and not hurt. I mean, I can throw up a PR video, and that's fun and it's cool and all. And but at the end of the day, it's way more important for me to be able to perform my tasks, my daily living tasks, and do so pain free. So that's
and that's the beauty, man. If you can get people or students or friends or loved ones to have that mindset about fitness, it becomes a whole different experience than about like, and that's the thing with the whole fitness thing is, I don't think, people look into diet a lot and sleep and all this stuff, and, they hook up stuff to them so they have every data point in the world. But a lot of people don't focus on the sports psychology side of it enough, right? Am I at the gym because I was called fat my whole life? Or am I at the gym because my significant other beats me down and I want to look? I mean, it's the whys are you at the gym, right? And when you can get people in the mindset of something that's really positive, the why, then it becomes a whole different game instead of doing it for somebody else or doing it for a vain reason or something like that. If it's to be a better dad, if it's to be a better coworker, a better husband, a better whatever it may be. I know it sounds cliche and cheesy, but that's the people that end up staying with the programs for the long haul, the people that aren't in a hurry to results, the people that are taking it one session at a time and just trying to make better choices here and there, not starving themselves for 90 days because they found some new hip thing or whatnot. The mindset side of it is huge, like freaking huge.
No, I couldn't agree more, man. That was the huge change for me was when I focused more on the longevity, moving well, being strong and getting out of pain. And for me now it's, knock on wood, staying out of pain, which is great. Position to be in. And I love that. And that's been a real change with my fitness journey and coaching journey is getting away from the aesthetic goal. I mean, again, we're guys, right? Like, of course, if we had a choice to look like, one way versus another, if who wouldn't want?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And big arms and all that stuff. If you could sustain it year round easily. Oh, sure. Of course. If we could take the Captain America super serum and look like that all the time, hell yeah, sign me up. Again, what's the main reason that we're training for? What's important? And all those pictures and all those ads and magazine articles and stuff. It's a lot of photoshopping, airbrushing. Of course, they've done a cut, they've all dehydrated, and they look like that for that shoot. Like you see it right. Later, most of them don't look that same way afterwards.
Oh yeah, same with that whole Hollywood stuff. Everybody's built up to have this idea of what they should or what not be, but a lot of that stuff is unless you have someone living in your house as a nutritionist and you have all the time in the world to follow the strict regimen, it's just not accessible to the everyday person that have children and busy lifestyles and go to work every day and pay their taxes and freaking just get by. So finding something. That's what I try and provide people. It's like my whole thing is I just want to make you an everyday athlete. And, you hear that stuff all the time. But if someone comes to me and says, I want to be a bikini model, I'll search out someone locally that trains bikini models and I'll send them their way. If someone wants to be just an extreme power lifter, I'm not going to do them disservice because that's not who I train. I just train people that want to wake up and if someone says, hey, let's go climb a mountain, it's like, well, my body's ready, but I may have to learn how to belay or may have to learn some mountaineering skills first. But I'm not going to say that I need 6 months to get my body ready to go through 3 months of training to go for a hike. Let's just cut the 6 months out. I'm already in shape, and let's go to the mountaineering part of it and just get after it. Not living in a place where your body is keeping you from doing things that you really want to do. But you can't because you've abused the only real gift that you have. It's your body.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And that's honestly, that's really what really got me into your content and seeing all of your posts and everything is you cut the shit. I love the fact that you're upfront with people, you're honest. You let people know what you're about, what your motivations are, what you're here to do. And you're not, I feel like a lot of professionals, especially newer in the industry, they try to be everything to everybody. Like, yeah, sure, I can help you do this. I can help you train for your first powerlifting meet. Sure, I'll train you to do a physique competition in a bodybuilding show. And each one of those goals and pathways is a specialized route. And so many people try to do all of that and be everything to everyone. So yeah, I think it's.
And I think that's. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, and I was gonna say, I think that's what worked out for me. You know, I got into this stuff late in life. You know, I found fitness when I was completely out of shape and I was completely depressed and I wasn't happy with who I was by any stretch of the imagination. And that's when I stumbled into this stuff. You know, and I think I focused on strong first kettlebells, strong first barbells, well, RKC at the time for the kettlebells, because I got into it back before that. And then the body weight stuff. And I wanted to get as good at these things before I went to the next cert or the next cert or the next cert. It seems like there's a lot of people in this industry that are going to certs every weekend, but they never really got good at the stuff they learned before the first cert. And yes, they may have all this stuff by their name, but do you really know what the hell you're doing with it? Have you practiced it? It's like buying a new tool every single day, but never working with it. When you go to work with it, you're not going to be very damn good with it, you know? And I think that there's some value in finding some people out there that kind of specialize in some stuff sometimes, you know, like I do, but specialize in the basics, right? And even through military and all these things, it's like the guys that were good at the basics were the best. It wasn't the guys that could, you know, do fancy shit all the time. It was you know, the guy you wanted next to you or whatnot. It was the guy that you knew that was really good at the basics, because when the shit hits the fan, you always fall back to the basics.
Right.
And I think that's how I got lucky in this industry, starting at such late in life, that I just kind of narrowed in on some stuff and I tried to get as good as I could at it before I added anything else to my toolbox. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of value in, and I mean, there's value in shiny objects and having fun in the gym and all that stuff, but that's not really, I mean, I have fun in the gym, laughing and doing all that stuff, but my workout's not about fun. You know, it's more really basic, to the point, and getting after it. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but.
No, I'm with you 100%, Jeff. I love all of what you just said, because I feel the same way. I feel like we all know these folks, that these coaches that have, you know, you call it alphabet soup at the end of their name. They have like all these certifications, degrees, specialty courses, all the things they've taken, and they don't know how to talk to people, or they don't know how to coach. They can't relate to the person, or like you said, they haven't practiced any of this stuff enough. They don't know how to use any of the stuff that they've learned at these certs. That was, and I feel like I'm sure a lot of people felt this way. When I first got my SFG, I loved it. I had a blast. I had Brett Jones was there, Mike Perry was there, and it was like we were kicking ass and having fun. I was so into it. We were playing, you know, Metallica and AC/DC.
Yeah.
And I was fired up, man. I had a blast. It was amazing. And you get done with it, you get your cert, and it's a high. You feel like you won something, right? Feel like you won a game or something. And
we had to work for it, right? I mean, it's not easy to do that snatch test.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and people are cheering you on, and it's super fun. I wanted to sign up for another one immediately because it was such a freaking good time, but I pulled myself back and was like, well, let's give us some time to digest what I've learned and figure out how the hell I'm going to take all of this and apply it into my programming for myself and obviously for my clients. So I agree with you. I think people go down that rabbit hole and they just want to get more things, more shiny things to add without actually thinking about the value. Like, how are you going to use this to serve, you know, the people in front of you? So.
Yeah, totally. And hey, you know, I wish I had the time and the money to go to 1,000 certs, but even if I did, I don't know. I really enjoy. Well, I guess I've seen what it does, because when I found it, like I said, I was overweight and depressed and a bunch of things, and what it did for me, I was thinking, Jesus, you know, there's got to be a lot of me's out there. And I didn't have to do anything fancy, and it really changed a lot in my life, if not saved it in many ways. So it's like, I mean, maybe I'm old school and dinosaur type and stubborn or whatnot, but yeah, if it works, why mess with it? And that's how my brain works.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I and you kind of mentioned this earlier. You're talking about like the trackable, the wearable, like the Fitbits and that kind of stuff. And there's certainly a market for it. People love it. I personally think they're great for folks that are trying to get to a certain number of step count. I think that's been just a really cool
Absolutely.
more active and get people more, really help them with awareness of how inactive the 9 to 5 Western sedentary life really is. Sitting and more sitting. But I do agree with you. I think people over rely on that stuff. They over rely on the assisting devices and things, and they don't focus on the important stuff, which is move your body, get strong, drink enough water, get enough sleep. They're going to focus on, what's the trackable, the Fitbit or the Whoop band or whatever I need to wear. What's the right, shoes I need to wear in order to do it. What supplements are going to help me get there? And it's like these things all contribute to the goal, but we're not looking at the root thing, which is training, sleep, and nutrition, right? And stress management, like earlier. Until we tackle those, that other stuff is really not going to help you that much. A lot of it hurts you, and you only spend a lot of money on stuff that's just, you're not going to get anywhere near that payoff and benefit if the other stuff's obviously dialed in.
Yeah. The average person doesn't need to train like a professional athlete, period. And they don't need the data of an Olympic athlete. They really don't. And a lot of people will let it get in their kitchen, and it starts to mess with their head. And so, I mean, for some, like you say, the step thing is huge. It's a daily reminder, like move, get your stuff going. But when you go down that rabbit hole of data, when you're a tech worker at Microsoft, I mean, you do that at work, just don't worry about all that stuff. How's your pants feel? How did it feel on your jog today? How did it feel when you were working in the garden today? Did your back go out? No, I felt strong as shit. How did it feel when you were, when you're being a guy and you're carrying, 16 bags on one trip from the car from Costco? I mean, how'd you feel doing that? Not like, what's my HRV today at noon, and now what's it at 1 p.m. Now what's it at 1:30? Where's my recovery? It's like, I mean, it's like, I think a lot of people can get a lot from listening to their body. That's how I train. I may have a certain idea what I'm going to do on a certain day, but based on what my nutrition was the night before, based on my stress level, based on my sleep, based on what I felt like in my warm up, I may be doing the same workout, but it's going to be with half the weight, and I'm going to turn it into a skill session where I'm just going lighter and just massively focused on skill. And on the other hand, I may have a light day plan, but I come in, I had a great night's sleep, I had a great meal, I'm feeling good, I'm happy, I got some good news. It's like, man, I'm going to crush it today. But that doesn't work for everybody, but that works for me. And then if I start approaching this overtraining, I get the same symptoms as depression. So I know the signs now. When I get into the data, I get too into it. That's like, I don't play fantasy football because I get too into it. I have that kind of addictive personality when it comes to that stuff. So it's great for some people, but for some people, they probably stepping away from it, they might find some greater benefits. So who knows?
Yeah, and I think that with age and time and perspective, you gain that self-awareness, and you realize kind of where you're at and what is going to be beneficial for you versus what's going to kind of take you down another road. Like you, I'm sure you've seen the documentary Pumping Iron. I feel like every person Iron. We've all watched, Arnold and Franco and Lou and all the guys working out in the gym, and they're hitting it like, basically they were training like UFC fighters, but they had jobs, which was insane. That's just to think about, that's crazy. But these guys were working out 3 to 6 hours a day. They had some chemical enhancement. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's not to take away from their work ethic. Those are really hard working guys. But I think people watch those documentaries, like that one in particular, and they think, well, I need to train like that in order to reach my goals. And the Strong First, the Pavel, learning that stuff and really getting into it and getting a little bit more of a minimalist approach, I have found for my body 2 to 3 times a week, if I do it right, 2 to 3 times a week is enough. If I feel, like you said, if you get a little bit good sleep, eat a little extra, you feel a little frisky, I'll throw a 4th session in, but it's not, even that 4th one's not very hard. I can go pretty hard, pedal to the metal. I do kind of a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split. And after that, I just do, I swing the Indian clubs, I do mobility, walk with my dog and do that. And for years, I stubbornly did that 5 to 6, bro split, chest, back, legs, push, pull, whatever, all the different routines. and I just sore all the time. It just sucked. And I got some results, but I just didn't feel great. Now I'm training hard and I feel great. I'm getting stronger, but I don't feel like shit the rest of the week. So it's awesome.
That's it. Oh yeah. Pavel. Gosh, it may have been at my RKC. Pavel and Dan John and the Sneedman brothers. And Czar. There's a bunch of badasses there. But they said training yourself to failure is training yourself to be good at failing.
Yeah.
And that really, I was like, I thought that I had to just destroy myself and leave it all on the gym floor to get results, in my younger days. But yeah, it really started to resonate with me that weekend back in 2010, I believe it was, when I did my RKC. I left there with a whole different mindset, completely different mindset. And like I said, it did so much for me that, I'm not going to argue with it.
You can't argue with results, and obviously you've been training longer than I have, so you've observed it even more than I have, that system and that training philosophy, it works, and people feel great, and it's like you said, you can't argue with what works. Those days when I just went really hard on benching, bench pressing like to failure, or squatting, like you think about how, again, like it's exciting and people love to post those like sexy training videos on Instagram. That stuff is dangerous, man. It's hard. Like a lot of that stuff that we did when we were like younger is it's very easy to get hurt. High rep like barbell deadlifting. If you're not in good position, you get really beat up. You can really hurt yourself, and it's very easy to go down that rabbit hole and get beat up. So
yeah, it's fun. It's fun being with a group of workout partners and everybody's screaming and yelling. And I love that stuff, and I still do. We just do it a little different now. Every now and again we'll have the fellows will have kind of the fuel house floor to ourselves, and we'll kind of go into that meathead mode, but we're still meatheading it with high quality, so I understand the draw of like screaming and pushing to that last set. I love it. It's just, you just got to get to a point where you understand that it's not sustainable for the long haul, and you got to kind of give and take, right? When it comes to that type of stuff.
That's what I love so much about the TSC. I'm sure you've probably done some TSCs before.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about the TSC is it's kind of a combination of everything. There's, you've got your pull-ups, which are, it's so much skill involved because you have to hit the standard. You've got to get obviously chin over the bar, and I think now it's, what is it, throat to bar, or there's some kind of
pretty much
or standard, which is great. Full extension of the elbows and all that stuff, and then the deadlift is just so fun. It's just so exciting just to see people pick up heavy weights.
Oh, I love it.
And then the snatch test is it, depending on what kind of a lifter and kettlebell you are, it's either a slower, just endurance-based thing, or if you're into it, that grip and rip, particularly that last like minute and a half. And but it gives you a chance to have that environment and that fun. It lets you kind of grip and rip a little bit, but doing it safely, obviously, and coaches around to make sure you don't screw yourself up.
Yeah, and what I love about it is the reason that you can go balls to the wall on that day is because of all the smart preparation leading up to it.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about, right? It's, you train smartly on the path to that, and you plan it out to where you're kind of peaking on that weekend. And, it's like, you leave it all on the table, and that, like, one time a year I train myself to failure, and that's coming up soon, is the Murph workout.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And that's one time a year where I'm like, okay, I kind of like to have that idea when I work out. If I walk out of the gym, when I'm walking to my car, if someone tries to mug me, I still have plenty in the tank to take care of that situation. But on the Murph day, I walk out of the gym like a baby giraffe, but because of the year long of training pretty smart, it's the next day I get up and I'm like, okay, let's go. But if I tried to train for the Murph by doing the Murph 3 times a week all year long, I wouldn't even be able to do the Murph because I'd be fucking broken.
Oh, no. done, and I mean it'd be terrible. I think that's a mistake, and I again putting myself in the same camp because I was the same way early on in my lifting career. But I think so many people don't understand the difference between training and testing, and how
Right.
those were totally different concepts, right? Like you said, you like to do on your birthday, you do the 48K get up. And at this point, it sounds like it's just an assessment for you. You're just kind of like, all right, I still got it, still feels good, and all that stuff.
Hmm.
You've obviously done the 56K, the Turkish get up. But I remember so many years where I would go in, chest Monday, bro. You got to hit that bench press. You got to go heavy, like max out. And you think about it now, it's like the reasoning, the mindset was, all right, max it on the bench press, see what you can hit for your 1 RM, which is just going to smoke you. It's going to fry your CNS, right? And then, okay, cool. Now let's do high reps on the incline barbell bench press and fry you there. And then let's come over and do the high rep, whether it's dumbbell flies or cable flies, or
Right.
and then finish off with a push-up burner. And you're done. Your shoulders are smoked, triceps are dead. And for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, you can do that and see some progress, but very
Hmm.
quickly you reach the
Yeah.
cliff and you stop
Yeah.
making progress. And eventually, you know the guys that stuck it out and they're stubborn, and then they get hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Torn bicep tendon, blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely, rotator cuff, labrum,
Yeah.
so many unnecessary injuries. I actually PR'd in my kettlebell press. It was right after we reopened. I think the gym had just reopened for us in Massachusetts, and it was in July. And I wasn't even pressing, funny enough. I was doing Turkish get-ups. I was doing heavy get-ups, and I was working in some push presses. We were doing some clean to push press work, and feeling good. Got good sleep. Had a little extra food, and was feeling frisky, and put the 40 up for the first time ever in my life. And
Nice.
it was fun. I on one side, I couldn't get it on the other side, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But it was funny how I got stronger in that movement by not training that movement, but working other complementary movements. And I think that's
Amen.
a lot of people don't understand that there is carryover for training other ways to get there.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm launching this Simple and Sinister camp at the gym.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to have up to 10 people in person and then up to 10 virtually. So I'll have the Zoom going at the same time. So kind of co-coaching virtually and in person. But I believe in that program so much. But I also believe that unless you dedicate 8 weeks, you can't even say anything about it. You can't do it once a week and be like, oh yeah, I did the Simple and Sinister program and nothing worked. No, it's like you got to commit at least 3 days a week to it and just get after it. So I'm excited to have some of the in-person gym members realize that stepping back and just doing swings and get ups for 8 weeks, when they get back to the barbell, when they get back to this other stuff and the box jumps and all these things, they're going to be like, wow.
When they go deadlift, they'll be very shocked by the carryover.
Oh yeah.
Rip, posterior chain.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that you're doing that. And I promise I'm not copying. Well, I mean, I technically am copying you because you've been in the game longer. But I was actually thinking about doing something similar myself in our area.
Do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of like a just outdoor kind of kettlebell kind of thing, and the same thing, SNS style kind of training, and just having fun, man. So.
That's it. I mean, the quickest way to a better snatch is single arm swing. The quickest way to a better clean is single arm swing. So even if they're just focusing, even if it's brand new people, which I love about it, if you just focus on the swings and get ups, when you transition to the next level, it's all going to be there. It's just a matter of changing the direction of the bell now, because they understand what the body's supposed to do. And it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's so cool how once they learn how to use their hips, legs, and they get that breathing in check, they unlock a lot of strength that they didn't realize that they had, and that's always it never gets old. It's always super exciting to see, going from like day one when someone's very new to it and we're learning position, posture, hinging, deadlifting with a kettlebell, and then fast forward 3, 6, 12 months down the line, it's like, okay, that weight that used to be heavy to deadlift with a kettlebell, now you're swinging it 2 arm or one arm. And that's always
right.
cool. You're like, okay, dude, you're pretty strong now. This is cool.
Yeah, totally. And the breathing, that's one of the things about the strong first system. The emphasis on breathing is huge. I think that's missed by a lot of people. And even in the community, I think, people that don't have someone over them, keeping them in check, whether they're certed or not, kind of get away from the breathing a little bit sometimes, I think, because it's so hard to have people grasp. But if you can, the quickest way to being a badass and never getting hurt in strength training is breath, period. You do it right, you're adding strength, you're adding stability, you're adding everything. So yeah, if anybody listen to this, if you want to focus on something, focus on learning how to breathe well under load. It's huge.
Oh, big time. Yeah, absolutely. And you see it so often, people that understand that concept and they actually smash a PR, whether it's a squat, a bench, a deadlift, heavy swing, heavy get up, or you see the person squat, they get down to the bottom and they immediately start yelling, let all that air out. They lose that tension. And they might be able to brute strength their way up, but 9 times out of 10, they're not coming out of that hole. They're not going to put up with that weight. And it's obviously extremely dangerous on the spine as well.
Yeah.
That is everything. I agree. Very important.
Yeah. The swing is the only exercise that I've ever done that the better I got at it, the more physically demanding it came. By breathing more, getting more core engagement, by, getting more quad engagement, getting more glute engagement. Just that whole thing is such an easy move to fake. That people, that's another thing I like about simple and sinister, is because you're focusing on the skill to swing. So another reason people get so much benefit out of it is they're not like jumping all around to a bunch of different things. They're just swinging and doing get ups. So it's really an opportunity to really hone in that breathing versus like when you're snatching, people breathe at the end of the snatch instead of with their hips. Things get confused because there's so much more going on in the movement. But everybody that I've ever seen client wise, that's the dedicated 8 weeks of simple and sinister after they're set for the rest of their kettlebell journey. Cause they've dialed in the breathing, the tension, the float, just all those little things that the swing provides, but it's easily faked unless you take some time to really get good at it.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And I think those are the two things there, breathing and tension. When I finally learned, and I'll be honest, I had been in the industry for almost 5 years when I first discovered Strong First and really getting into kettlebells. I was one of those meatheads that thought kettlebells were stupid and some stupid little, toy that's going to be a gimmick, that's just not really going to do anything for the body and doesn't really have a purpose. And, fast forward a couple of years and things change. But when I learned, one of my coworkers taught me how to properly engage my lats and breathe better on the deadlift. My deadlift shot up like 70 pounds. And ironically, not only did it shoot up 70 pounds, it felt lighter than that that actual lighter weight without the proper breathing and bracing. So it truly is powerful. It's learn it, and you really had to learn how to. Jen Meehan Murphy, who I'm sure you've obviously heard of, she talked about always. So she talked about linking and syncing. Getting everything locked in and kicking ass.
Amen. That's it.
Yeah, so awesome. Well, Jeff, those are kind of the main things I really wanted to go over with you. Like I said, a lot of really cool similarities. I guess we can finish off with, and this is a great segue. We were talking about breath work. I know you've been doing the Wim Hof. You've been doing like the breath work and the cold exposure, cold shower stuff. So how has that been for you? How long have you been doing that, and how's that been for you?
I love it. And to be honest, I'll never bullshit people. I'll usually go for about 2 months of every single day, and then I'll fall off of it for a second, and then I'll get back on. But I've been at it now for a good solid few months anyways. And for me, it's having some type of routine in the morning is huge for kind of like a squirrel brain like mine, or a guy that's prone to anxiety or depression or something like this. So when I'm on point with that Wim Hof stuff, like right when my alarm goes off in the morning, I grab the app and I do a minimum of 3 rounds of the breathing. And then I go straight down and I jump in that cold shower. And just that alone starts off the day successful, because I don't want to take a cold shower. I mean, there's nothing about a cold shower that I really enjoy. First thing in the morning, it's not great, but having that one thing that you don't want to do that you tackle very first thing in the morning is pretty powerful. But then, not to mention just the meditative state of that breathing, and I truly believe that it is great for the nervous system, the CNS, and it's good for mindset and physiology. It's amazing, and mindset above all, like especially going into those open water cold plunges where it takes some fortitude to be able to do it. And then so yeah, for me, it's mostly, I would say, the biggest benefit is just having that thing that you conquer that you don't want to do in the morning to kickstart your day, and all the other stuff is just a huge bonus that comes out of it. But I really think that people that wake up in the air-conditioned house and then they get into their self-driving car and they go down to the cubicle that's air-conditioned, and then they come back and they go right back to the place that they just left, and the biggest struggle in the day was potentially their coffee not being made right, or their email jammed, or their internet was too slow, or something like that. Get into this rut of comfort that, and Wim Hof says, our biggest problem is comfort. We just take a lot for granted, and so just having something that you find a little discomfort in, whether it be just taking that 30-minute walk right when your alarm goes off, or making yourself do 50 push-ups first thing in the morning, or just something, instead of walking down, drinking the first cup of coffee, turning on the news, looking at all that crap, and then going on social media and getting stuck in some type of echo chamber. It's just, for me, is not a healthy way to start the day, like not even remotely close. So the Wim Hof thing, meditation, going on a walk, making yourself do some air squats. I don't care. It doesn't have to be hard, but having some type of thing to kickstart your day is huge. And lately the Wim Hof has been a huge piece of that for me, and I can't recommend it enough. It's great.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%, man. I've been, so I feel like a lot of people, I found out about him from another person who mentioned him in some YouTube video somewhere. I was like, oh, who's this guy? They called him the I was researching, like, well, this guy's a bit of a nutcase. This looks cool. Talking about the cold showers, and he, obviously, like you said, he does the cold plunges. He gets in the water, which is, that's next level. I love it for the same benefits. I know the research is definitely, it's mixed as far as like what it does for recovery and that kind of stuff, and immunity and that kind of stuff. But that'll be interesting to see how the research goes over the next like couple of decades or whatever. But I definitely love the mental and the meditative aspect as well. It, like the breath work. I also suffer from anxiety as well, Jeff. So I'm with you there, 1,000%. That's definitely something. Working on mastering my breath has really helped me manage those symptoms and be a better, we're going full circle, being a better father, a better husband, and just better overall human. So, and it's that cold shower, dude. Everybody that does it, you're cussing at the faucet when the thing first goes off, the first like 30 seconds. Then the body acclimates, and you get out, and your mood is just so elevated. You feel feels
so good.
Man, you're like, I got this. I can freaking do this. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. The app is really easy to follow as well, and it has little challenges on it and whatnot. And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. It's just like going to the gym. You don't have to go right to a 5-minute cold shower. I mean, you can just do your regular hot shower, and the last 20 seconds turn it to cold, and then next week do a 30 seconds and just keep going that way. That's when I first started, I was the jackass that just had it on straight cold, and I just jumped right in and like
I had to. So I'm like you, man. I have to. I can't do that warm to cold because I'll just literally get pissed off. So I just said, fuck it, let's just do this thing. I would get in there and turn the faucet on and then just hit the shower and just commit.
yeah. And I was convincing myself too that I was saving water because I wasn't waiting until the water to warm up. I did all this mindset stuff. But yeah, it's just, I just look at the water and I say, I know for a fact you can't kill me. So. Yeah. What am I going to lose? I'm going to be cold and I'm going to be a little pissed off, but after these 3 minutes, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to be feeling like a champ. So it's worth it.
Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, I love it. And that's the same reason I do that stuff too. So I just, it's the same video that I do over and over again for the breathing exercises with them. And then I just set the timer and get in the shower. What time intervals are you doing your breathing at? Is it like the 30 breaths and then do the breath hold? Like how long is your breath hold?
Yeah. So it starts with, if you just follow the app, you'll do 40 breaths.
Okay.
And then it'll beep, on that last exhale, and then you hold as long as humanly possible. And I've gotten to I almost broke a 3 minute, like 2:45 or something like that, or 2:55 or something like that. And that's usually about the third round. Usually I average round 1 somewhere around 1:30. Round 2, I'll get into the 2-minute thing, and then round 3 and 4, it just progressively gets a little bit higher. But I've never made it past the 3-minute. I don't think, maybe 3:01 once. And then after that breath hold, you take in a big deep breath and then you hold for 15 seconds, and then you let that out and you just restart the cycle. So it's 40 breath hold after the last exhale. And then the 15-second inhale with a hold, and then just repeat the cycle. It doesn't necessarily take the full 40 breaths. It's just that's kind of what helps me really get into the meditative state of it. Some people will just breathe until they start to feel their fingers tingle, and some of them that'll be 20 breaths, some will be 30, and then they go into that hold, but yeah, 40 is what I do. And 3 to 4 rounds typically is
hey, you're definitely moving along there. I can do, the video I follow is, I guess, the intermediate, and the first breath holds a minute, and that one's not too bad. And then rounds 2 and 3 are just 1:30. The second round is pretty tough. That last 30 seconds is pretty brutal, but then I guess the body acclimates, and I get in the last round, I'm just cruising. I'm like, I hit the 1:30 and I could probably go another 15 seconds, but
yeah.
Over 2.5 minutes, man. That's pretty.
Yeah. And I think the trick for me is I turned off all of the cues that would let me know how long I was holding. Because if I would hear that first beep, I'd be like, all right, I'm already 60 seconds in, shit. So if I just kept it silent during the timer going, then my mind's not playing tricks on me. I'm just literally in that space. And I can't, there's nothing in there that lets me know, like, oh shit, just like when you're telling yourself all the time you're going to do 5 reps at 185, your body's like, okay, at 3 I can start shutting down a little bit because I only got 2 left. So it's the kind of the same thing with that breathing. But when I just really get into it and just let it happen and just try not to panic and just kind of just be calm in my bed, and just because if I sit up I can't hold as long, but if I'm laying down in bed, that's when I get my longer breath holds.
I'm gonna try that. I've been just doing the standard, the sitting in the lotus position, but I'm gonna try that laying down too. I could see how that would be. You're obviously more relaxed. I could see that being a good one. And then, are you doing 5 minutes for the cold shower?
Just three mostly, 3:30. Yeah, just something like that. Just a quick hitter in the morning. I've done the 5s, but 3 seems to just be kind of a nice magic spot where it wakes me up plenty. And it's enough of a struggle that I find it beneficial.
That first sucks though. That first minute never gets easier, man. Especially early in the morning when it is cold outside. And those are the days where it's even, you get even more of a mental charge from it, because you're like,
For me, it's the first turnaround to my back, is like that first shot on the back is what gets me. Because I always start with it on my face, because I figure if I go my face and my head, and then of course it trickles all the way down. But that first turnaround is like, but when I'm in there, I'm just trying to focus on slow, like breathing as slow as humanly possible. That's all I'm thinking about in the shower. I'm trying to take like a 60-second inhale, exhale. Basically it's just slow, just trying to be calm.
Absolutely. And that's the hard part in the initial phase when there's a shock, obviously, but once you acclimate, I do the same thing. Actually, and I took your advice, by the way, trying the box breathing, trying to really slow down, do that full count tempo. It definitely helps. It definitely helps.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. I really appreciate you sitting down and chatting with me. I guess we can kind of close out with where can people find you, if they want to reach out to you, about coaching and everything.
Of course, the Instagram, Sokol Strong. I do have a Facebook page it's linked to, but I don't go to Facebook. I'd be off of all social media if I could probably get away with it, but apparently you need to kind of have it for business. So Sokol Strong, and then I have it's Sokol Strong TV, where I have like a kettlebell 101 course and a kettlebell foundations course. That basically kettlebell 101 teaches pretty much everything I know about the kettlebell swing and get up, and then the other one adds in some cleans and presses and all that fun stuff. And then fuelhousegym.com if you're ever in Seattle and you want to come and play. That's where I'm at.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, one of these days we're gonna have to trek out there and come swing some bells and hang out, and you can teach me the ways of bourbon. We can kind of
there you go.
Out a little bit. So
I love it.
Thank you so much for your time, and I had a great time, and I think we should definitely do this again. And
absolutely.
Or I feel like we could go into more like philosophy stuff next time, like the mindset stuff that you're always posting about that I really love. So, well, brother, I really appreciate your time, and we'll definitely talk to you soon, man.
All right, keep it up, brother.